And we should be live shortly, if not live already. All right, so we're live now. It's a new stream. All right, people. YouTube didn't want you all to see this video for some reason. We'll just get my camera here. All right. Hopefully we run smooth this time. Are we good? All right, look, Antonio here. First, Ren, Checkmate, Vide, Shane. Good afternoon again. Sorry about that. Cambridge is my dream uni, right? So we have two of your dream colleagues here, classmates here. So any updates about CXC? So I'll talk about that after, right? Good afternoon. It's working, I think. So hopefully it keeps running smooth. See why I do these things in the night. So what I'll do is allow Joanna to just give us a slight intro. You know what? Take us in 2 minutes from CXC, which is like age 15, 16, Jemima, like age 16, to how you reach in Cambridge. Give us a 2-minute rundown. We start with Joanna.
Okay. So Form 4, I did CXC French, and then I did the rest of my 8 subjects in Form 5, and Spanish included. And then I went into Form 6. I did French, Spanish, and computer science. In +6, so before like scholarship results had come out, I applied to Cambridge. So I had both of my years' results already, because Cambridge's application system starts like December, November. Well, that's when they start selecting people. And I got help from UK ESC, which is like this company that helps Caribbean students apply to schools in the UK. And if you're applying to schools in the UK, you have to go through this whole UCAS submission. So they helped me with that. And then I did a Cambridge interview in December, and I found out that I was accepted in January, somewhere around there. And scholarship results had come out on graduation day in October. And Minister of Education had come to school because I think Sanjali Maharaj had won President's Medal from SAGS. Woo! And so they decided to come and read out all of the scholarship results while everybody was there with their mother and their father and everybody else for graduation. But yeah, so I went through the whole process to apply for the scholarship and accept it. Which is a bit more stressful than it needed to be. And then I took a year off, and I did some work at an AC company and then at PriceSmart.
Oh yeah, I remember you at PriceSmart cashing my stuff. Yeah. I used to go in your line all the time. She's a boss of a cashier too.
Thank you. And then I started in Cambridge. So I flew over in September, and Tim started in October. And my parents knew like one family friend who lived close to Cambridge, and they helped us kind of get settled. And then everybody else went back home and left me in England.
And you're still in England, not in COVID-19 right now, right?
Yeah.
So you're in the quarantine, one outing for the day?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so Jemima, it's your turn. We just met like about half an hour, a little more ago, and she's a very interesting person. And I said in the earlier video that she does sail, windsurfing, figure skating, writing, piano, painting, drawing, baking, reading, and is studying French, German, and Polish. And so I don't know what happens in England when you're 16 years old. Can you take us from like 16-year-old Jemima to being in Cambridge?
Sure. So basically in England, I think the equivalent is GCSE.
Yeah.
So at the age of 15, I did French, German, English language, and then maths. at
Maths.
GCSE. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then 16, I did English literature, law, and biology. And then I moved on to A levels, which is the next stage, which I don't know what is the equivalent is, but
Keep it.
yeah.
Same thing.
And chose to do creative writing, French, German, and English literature, which was really interesting. And it really geared me towards my degree. Definitely, like choosing language subjects is very useful.
Mhm.
And creative writing was useful because I like that kind of side to things. It definitely helps with essay writing as well. And then from there, so at school, I did a lot of kind of I like wrote for the school newspaper on the subjects that I liked. Did like some TAing, so like teacher assistant work, that sort of thing. So I wasn't ever like a prefect or anything, but I kind of tried to find ways where I could help the school and they helped me as well. And I think that's always a good thing to put on UCAS application. Or you don't have UCAS, but like it's a good thing to have like put on a CV or put on whatever application you want to submit to unis.
Wait, so you use UCAS as well?
Oh yeah, you have UCAS. Yeah, okay, cool.
Right.
Yeah.
It's once you're applying to UK universities, you have to go through UCAS, no matter where
Okay.
you're. Yeah.
Cool. Didn't know that. So yeah, and then applying to uni. So for me, it was like a bit different because I'd been homeschooled up until 16. So that was something to put in as well. Like
Oh, you just
the
threw it
fact that
out
you
there.
have.
I thought you went to. So what about Northern Natchball Grammar School?
Yeah. So that was I was homeschooled up until that point. So
Yeah.
entrance to there was fun. Yeah, it was. There were lots of. It's quite a small school, so it's lot of pressure in terms of people expect a lot of you, really, but not so much. So it's getting the right amount of pressure, but not so much that you're stressed out all the time. That was fun. It was good to like join a bigger group of people who liked studying languages. It was very self-motivated, a lot of it, because they didn't have a German department. So I had to self-teach until I went to another school for German and then split it kind of between two schools. That was fun. It was definitely interesting to see different people's stances. And I think especially with languages, if you're in a situation where they don't speak a language in a school that you're going to, think about like outside of the box, how can you access the education that you need? And for me, that meant splitting between two schools, and just kind of basically asking the teachers to volunteer. And I just sat in lessons, so I wasn't actually an official student there. I just sat in. Yeah, and it's like, for
So
me, it was
it
just
was
kind of
it was stealing classes.
pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But okay. And after that, you were accepted into Cambridge.
Yeah.
So I saw you brought up homeschool, and some of my students online are homeschool, and you would have a little experience in public and homeschool. Like if you could choose for yourself, like not your parents, like you could choose for yourself. Would you choose homeschooling over public education?
I think it
Your
depends
parents in the
which
room?
school.
Your parents in the room?
No.
Yeah.
No. I think it depends who you are and who your parents are and what schools are available to you. I don't think I would have been like I would have chosen to be state schooled in the UK, in England. I don't think I would have chosen like in London where I was there to go to state school. But I think if you're in Kent or other, because in different counties in England, there's a different kind of education system depending where you go. So yeah, it just like the education
Some
quality really
factors.
varies.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
given all things ideal, like if there's a good state school nearby, and your parents have the money and ability to homeschool you, which one would you pick?
I think for me personally, probably homeschool up until A levels, and then I would go to school, like I did basically. I wouldn't have been able to do like figure skating and stuff like that, which I'd done if I were in school, because you get homeschool rates. So we got to go ice skating like for 8 hours, like on a Friday for £2 each. which is like a real plus a lesson. So like all included in £2. So if you're homeschooled, you get lots of benefits as if you're at school. So that was
okay.
fun.
But like for homeschool, who taught you like the languages and things?
So it gets a bit complicated here. So my mum basically taught me up until probably, I don't know, like 15, French. And then I basically took up German for a bit and then decided I wanted to do it for GCSE. So I had a bit of like, in our homeschool group, we had a bit of like teaching. So people would offer the skills set that they had, and then you just kind of share. So we had like a bit of French teaching there, a bit of German teaching there, and then it's like basically just bulking out the work that you're doing on your own at home. So yeah, that's basically what happened.
Okay. Anybody in the chat homeschool? We have 52 viewers right now. Oh yeah, y'all who view and make sure and press like on the video so that it'll send out your notification to as many people on the channel as possible. Alright, Joanna. So we're going into tips now, like for education wise, studying wise. We was talking about social media being a possible distraction during holiday time, but you know. And I remember you had the best. By the way, this is not the first time I'm interviewing Joanna. We interviewed 2 years ago when the channel now started, and as well as Savio and Dejon. But okay, so like now, keeping up with the Cambridge work or Cape work, what would be some tips, some key, like three? Give me three tips that you find really work for you.
Okay. I like lists, so I tend to like make a list of everything that I need to get done, and date it. So I will do like what I need to do for and like write when it's due, and then I'll put when I plan on doing it, and just like
So when
stick
you
to
write
that
your
as much as
list, you
possible.
date like the deadline for your objective.
Yeah. So I don't know if I could. No, I'm not gonna show you. All right, so I'll write
Wait,
up
that
like,
list.
and then put like due whenever date, so I know like that is the last minute I can do it. And then on like the other side of it, I'll put a date when I plan on doing it. And so like at the beginning of each day, I'll just check. Okay, what did I tell myself to do today then? And then try and get those done.
So that's one.
That's one. I think for languages, because it's like you need to be constantly doing something with it, finding things that you enjoy, like culture-wise. So if it be like music or a film series or like a radio program that you like listening to, so that you're either like practicing it or hearing it,
Right.
or like watching it. One thing I did for CAPE for like listening exams, which really helped, was find songs that I really liked, but I didn't really know the lyrics to, and then I would like play it over and then try and write a transcript for it. So try and make sure that I had like the lyrics correct, so in the language.
So you listen to foreign music?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So find songs that you like and then do a transcript for it. So that helps you with listening, especially. So you get to hear different accents and then try and figure out what they're trying to say.
Right.
And then you can always double check it with what's online and see how far off you went. Yeah.
Okay, so that's two.
That's two. And three. Don't reward yourself until you actually do the work.
That was the big one. That was the big one from last time. That's the big one.
Yeah.
Big one back in history. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, so like I'll you have things that you enjoy doing, but I'll make sure I try and do that after I've done the work.
So
because if you do it before, you're just like, yeah. So you reward yourself.
That from your father or your mother?
Yeah, mom.
Yeah. All right. Jemima, you have any? All right, I'll give you two more since you already hit off three nice ones. To add tips that really help you.
So something that I find really useful is definitely changing workspaces regularly. So making sure that I'm not. Sorry?
Changing workspaces is what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
So explain. Like making sure that I'm like keep them moving. like maybe even like every hour or so, just like swapping and making sure that I'm not just sat in one position for like the whole day. That's something that I definitely find useful. And also similarly to Joanna, especially for revision, making sure I have a revision schedule. So I'll like write out like all the stuff that I have to do, and then on a big A3 sheet, like separate it up into days, and then give myself like 3 tasks to do for the day.
Right.
So then it's not just like a massive group of things that you have to do, but rather it's like categorized according to when you have to do it, and it allows you like to be more structured in what you do then.
Yeah, and I noticed this with everybody I talk to, at least the scholarship winners and thing. Everybody seems to talk, and I myself work from an objective point of view. But most of the times when students think timetable, they think time point of view, like they think they need to be studying this amount of time, this amount of time, this amount of time. So they study the knock off time instead of, okay, you're writing an objective that you want to accomplish, and whatever. Once you complete the objective, you can drop down your rewards and whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a big point. But also that point that you say where you move from you move different places. Because most of the times teachers, including myself, advise students to have a study area that they are familiar with. And generally you stay in the same study area, then you go, you do the thing, you come back in the same study area, so you can catch back the same thing. So that's different. Okay, let's do a little game with Jemima. So your only experience with Trinidadian accent or language or form of English is Joanna? Right.
Basically, yeah.
Great.
Oh no.
So you are studying 3 modern languages.
Yeah.
Polish, German, and French. And you know English. And just now she was sounding kind of Trini in her expressions. So I want you now. So she was sounding more Trini than Joanna. That's kidding. So
Sorry.
I want you now, Jemima Hawks, to give me the translation for these phrases from Trinidad. Right? So what you think the translation for these phrases from Trinidad mean? Can you do it?
I'll try.
Alright. Crapo, smoke your pipe.
Something to do with smoking.
Oh my god.
Crapo, smoke your pipe and don't eat your supper. It means, well, crapo here means like a frog, but I don't really know why it have anything to do with a frog, but it means like you're going through. Like that's it, you're finished.
You're going through another too.
Yeah, you're going through another too. Why did you want to help me here? What does this mean? Oh yeah, you will explain what it means, Jordan, since you say you Trinity the boat.
Yeah.
I see you when you're Trinidad now. Everything.
Yeah, it goes to me wherever I go. Crapo smoky pipe. Basically, oh gosh, I don't know how to explain without saying you're going through. Like you get yourself in a really bad situation, and like that's it there for you. Like you're kind of hopeless, or you just have to like face the consequences of your actions, kind of thing.
Very optimistic.
Yeah. Alright. People, y'all can send me some expressions here. So once something students say all the time, like if I will give you the context because I want to see if you can understand what it is. Your father is a glassmaker.
Can you repeat that?
Your father is a glassmaker.
Is it someone who like can't deal with being criticized?
Oh no. But that's an interesting one. Yeah. Like it could probably mean that in another universe. Joanna, explain it.
So that's if somebody's in front of you and you're trying to see around them and they just come and stand in front of you for no reason. Yeah. And it's like you feel you're made out of glass. So like one.
Alright, we'll give you 2 more. I tried to look for really clever ones. Better body, better. Like I can't even say it myself. Better belly bust than good food waste.
Okay. It's better to be in shape than overeat, or the opposite.
Kind of the opposite.
Kind of the opposite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better belly bust than good food waste. Better your belly bust than good food waste.
Okay. So basically, it's better to enjoy food than to be really skinny.
Ding, 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 ding. That's it. That's it. Who laugh last, laugh the best. Well, I think there's a Publix. There's a global scene.
Universal one.
Yeah. Every bread have its cheese. I think that's universal as well. All right. So I want to open up now to take questions. Anybody, any language students? Yeah, most of the stuff I teach on this channel is mathematics. I am no friend of language at all. If you all start speaking French or German or anything here, I gone through. So we'll take some questions from language students. I know these students normally have a lot of questions. Right now, we're insane. Jemima, so how you making out with the COVID-19? You're home or you're
Yeah. So
home?
I live in Cambridge anyway, so there's
Okay.
not much changed. So yeah. It's like my schedule doesn't really change for
Right.
COVID-19 anyway. I
So
normally go
that's
out like in the holidays once a day anyway. So
that's
like
me too. That's
when,
me too. As a matter
yeah.
of fact, I feel like I'm going out more now because I'm going and collect things or something.
Mm.
We need help with Spanish or CXC. Well, I don't think they're in the position to tutor.
Well,
Jemima,
what help?
Jemima, how do you know where to add accents?
In French.
In they didn't specify.
You have to learn specific words.
Uh,
You can't. Yeah, it's not. You can kind of hear if you're like listening to a conversation, you'll be able to hear where the accent is. But you can't tell in terms of like you just literally have to learn the words. A lot of French people don't know which way the accents go, but
That'd be true.
it's a lot easier in German than it is in French, I think. But
Somebody say I'm learning German and I find it hard to move on from beginner. What advice do you have to really boost learning?
I would say go and be an au pair in Germany if you can. Depends on how old you are, I guess. When I was 14, I went as an au pair and it was really, really cool. So like, yeah.
For someone
Just like
in the Caribbean to do that would be nearly impossible. Nearly impossible.
Yeah.
So for England, it's pretty easy to do. When you jump on a train.
yeah, well, yeah, on the plane, yeah, you can get people to fund you.
Really?
It depends.
You know what? I should
Europe
have
travel.
gotten Vicky. She will be able to. Maybe next time.
Yeah. And if you can't do that, I would just say make sure you're listening. Like Joanna says, make sure you're listening to German. Make sure you're also like really getting to grips with the grammar, because German is not a language that you can grasp if you don't understand the grammar. So it takes loads and loads of grammar learning before you can even like have a conversation. So I definitely say just keep on going over the grammar, however grueling it is, and you'll get out the other side and you'll be able to speak to people. But it does take a lot of work. So
By grammar, I mean there's different rules that apply different than English or something.
yeah, and things that you might expect to be the same in English and German aren't.
Can you give me an example? The only words I know in German is Autobahn and Hubschrauber or something. That's helicopter. Am I saying words that are German here? Because I want to be like those are kind of German words.
I mean, I think technically
Autobahn.
Autobahn is also an English word, so
Yeah. And Hubschrauber. Is that helicopter? I don't know why I know helicopter in German.
You know?
I asked Vicky, where's the hardest German word? And she said that. So I just memorized that.
What I would say is because I know like travel is really hard. So the only travel I did before I came to the UK for languages was to go to Guadeloupe with Repario. Um, but I would say, okay, so definitely, especially with German, the good thing is that you don't, in order to start off, you don't really need to have conversation that often because it's very hard to do anything if you don't know the Jemima said. So if you get a good grammar book, so like there are some really good ones out there that might be a bit clunky to go through, but like Hammer's German Grammar and Usage is really, really good. And then if you can get like an online platform like italki or something like that, where you kind of basically there's online teachers and they like just have conversation with you and teach you how to your language. So even if there's no German speakers around, you can go there and somebody there will help you out. Yeah, and then just like find media that you can use and listen to.
Would you recommend
Don't go to Duolingo.
Duolingo? You recommend those apps?
Well, I was saying don't go to Duolingo too quickly.
Yeah.
Because Duolingo tries to teach you like normal conversation before you've grasped the language itself. So I would just say like make sure that you're doing proper grammar before you try and like don't use phrase books until you can actually understand the grammar.
Yeah, especially for German.
Yeah.
If you are using Duolingo for German, then make sure and read the grammar points that they have. That it's kind of optional. So like they will give you a vocab lesson, and then at the side of the vocab lesson they'll have the grammar points. Read that one. That one's a bit more important than the vocab.
Okay. And tips for French.
Tips for French.
French is a bit more tricky, I think.
There's a level that you can get to with like French and Spanish actually, up to like CSEC Cape level, and you're very good like conversationally, and there are a lot of people you could practice Spanish and French with in Trinidad, so find them and use them, but after a point you need to like listen for the style of the language. So French especially, the way that they phrase certain things, that's something that you have to learn and develop after a while of listening to like news reports or something like that, because there's just like a French way of saying things that you can't really be taught in a classroom. That only comes after like practicing listening to it. I don't know if you remember.
I would also say like reading French is really important. Because
reading,
as like I said with accents, a lot of things are similar in the way that they sound, but they're really hard to write down. This works with like if you guys have learnt a bit of French, like if you say parler, that can either mean with an accent on the end or it can mean with er, or it could also have an extra e or and an s, and they're all pronounced the same, but they mean completely different things. So one thing in French is like keep on reading and writing as well, and check yourself if you think you've got, for example, I don't know whether you know these terms, but the difference between like a past participle and a verb, like an infinitive verb, like a core verb and like adjective / past tense part of a verb, they're very, very different. Like the way that basically the meaning is very different, but the way that it sounds isn't different, but it looks different on the page. So I think
reading helps that.
Definitely, yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What careers are you all aiming towards? This question is from Sheen.
Ooh. Yeah. So this is gonna sound dumb, but I don't have a fixed plan yet. So my plan at the moment is so I'm going on my year abroad. I'm going to work in a language school in France and then in Austria, with OM.
Right.
And then I'm
Were you there before?
No.
Okay.
No.
Who was there? Somebody was there. Daniel was there.
Rachel was on the logos. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be like in Austria. But then so I have to come back and work for the government for 5 years to pay off the scholarship. During those 5 years, I want to learn Arabic, and then go into freelance translation online, and
That
then we'll
sounds
see what
like a
happens
plan,
from
though.
there. Yeah,
Not a in stone plan, but it's a
kinda
plan.
ish
It's a
plan.
plan. It's a kind of plan. And Jemima,
I'm also really not very sure. I constantly have loads of different ideas. At the moment, I'm thinking probably something writing related. So, like I said, I did creative writing for A level. So probably something like I really like writing poetry. I also like journalism and writing novels and writing children's fiction. So probably something writing related. Whether that then develops into me translating the works, I'm not sure. I also am interested in tutoring, so it might be like a split career of like doing some tutoring and then doing some
interesting.
writing.
Okay.
So yeah.
And somebody keeps saying bread, 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 bread. Hold on, my son coming into it. What's that
They
bread thing
want to know
about?
what's the price of bread in pounds.
I want to play piano tiles on your iPad.
All right, here you go. So I lost my iPad there. Yeah. So what's the price of bread? Let me just ask this question so this person will stop asking that. Joanna,
What's the price of bread? Like £1 something? Depends on what bread again.
that's
In
already the same
England,
price.
Yeah.
$10.
English bread is rubbish. Seriously, English bread is like such a letdown. I'm sorry, guys. Like going to France is like that's one of the main things I'm looking forward to. Like a decent baguette à l'ancienne. That's what I'm looking forward to.
To be fair, one of the girls who came out from her year abroad in France was like, she's spoiled now. Like she could only go to certain bread stores in England to get bread.
Stay in France. Why'd you have to come back?
So friends that are my friend in France who's teaching English in France, who didn't want to do the interview because she's shy or something. She says that the food tastes good, the bread tastes really good, and she always sends in pictures. But she has a problem with how they distribute the bread, like the bread in the open, and they would just hold it and give it to her with their bare hands. So she has a problem with that.
European people and food are interesting.
Tips for learning Dutch. I don't think anyone learning Dutch. Oh yeah, I wanted to ask. I'm coming down to the end here. Why did you throw in Polish? And is it similar to German?
Yeah. So the reason why I chose Polish is basically because it's not like the other three languages that I speak. So Polish is Slavonic, which means that it has like a lot more. Although it's got a Latin alphabet, it's not Cyrillic, so it's different on the page to Russian or lots of other Slavonic languages. It's very different in terms of like word use and like so for example in French and German you'll have at least some comparison to English, whereas in Polish a lot more of the vocabulary is new. So that's been really interesting.
Does it make it easier or harder? Like, because if something's similar but different, it can be tricky. But if it's brand new, you could probably remember it. You could probably attach it to a whole new different structure. Does it make it harder or easier?
I think in my context it probably makes it harder because so there are lots of Russianists in our class and they'll be like, oh yeah, that's a transliteration of this word, and I just won't know the Russian word. So it's been really challenging, but also I think it's a lot more rewarding that way because like it's from scratch. You're learning it for the point of learning it. It's fun.
Okay.
Been good.
All right. We'll see if you have any more questions.
I think generally Cohen for like people who are studying other languages, or even people who want to tips on Spanish. Basically, any language you go about learning, you'll be doing the same thing. So you learn the important parts of the language. So for German, the key one is grammar. So I mean, you have to learn the grammar for each of them, but find out like what the language is structured around. Learn that, and then just practice speaking it off the bat. Like even if you're going to make 1,000 mistakes in one sentence, like just do it. Just to get the practice, and then find things that you can listen to, and media that so that you can be reading it, listening to it, just really, I don't know, be immersed in the language, and then find like good like grammar books or things that talk about the language that really take you through it properly, so that you know what the ideal is, so you're not just kind of flailing through it. Yeah.
Okay, I will probably screenshot that part of the video and post it and just keep it up my phone to send it to people who keep asking me about languages and I don't really have anything to tell them. So thank you. One more thing, Joanna, studying abroad away from your family, you say everybody came up and then they left you. How has that been? Pointers to keep with that and
How has that been? It was a really crazy transition. I think don't underestimate how different cultures are. Because I thought basically because I wasn't going to a country that spoke a different language that it wouldn't be that different. But England and Trinidad are two massively different places.
Really?
I mean, given the fact that you have mangoes on, like, just given to you on the street, that's this is like one of the key reasons why I want to come to Trinidad. Like, mango season, please.
Yeah, there's one in my backyard.
Come, give me some, please. But yeah, I think I took a while to get adjusted to what UK culture really was, and then being in Cambridge doesn't really help because like Cambridge has a separate culture of its own, so it's kind of hard to figure out what is Cambridge culture and then what's English culture. But yeah, finding things that you get stuck in really quickly, and so you have like a community of people who support you. So one of the first things I did was get involved in Christian Union. And that really helped ground me because I was a part of something and there were people who were supporting me. And then I started rowing and that as well, having a team atmosphere, that really helped. Yeah, and then like, don't be afraid to be you. It's like, it's one thing that I learned after a while. It's like, do not water down your Caribbeanness. Do not water down your Trininess. Like, they need it. So, yeah.
It's true. There's so many dull English people.
I mean, not helping.
I find you not representing your country well enough. Before we go, Jemima, you need to say something good about England. What do you love about where you grew up, London?
I think I said this before we went live, but just like how cosmopolitan London is. Like London is there's just so many. It's a clash of so many cultures in a really, really good way, and you can just like walk through London and do nothing and do everything. And I just love that. Like you can spend no money and you're just like seeing some of like the main like world sites that are really beautiful. And I just love how you can get everywhere within London within like an hour.
So
like,
you were living like in the heart of London.
Sorry?
So you were living in the heart of London.
So basically, yeah. So I was like Ashsea, which is like near Victoria Station. Okay. So it's pretty like central. But yeah, like I just love London. I also love the green spaces. I realized like since I've moved to the country, well, I came to the country. But yeah, like it's like there's less, I would say, designated green spaces. So London just has like half a ton, like because it's basically like one of the main kind of like heirlooms, if you could put it like that way, from Queen Victoria and Albert. They like set up loads of parks. And they were like, it's the first time basically that they were for the common people, so people like us who don't have money. And it's like just that you can just step in and it's like although there's so much traffic going on around you, you can have 2 miles of green space from between you and the traffic in the heart of London, and that's just something that's very unusual for such a large city, especially I feel like in Europe. Just having wide open spaces is quite unusual, so I really love that. Right. Yeah, definitely.
And as we go, you can still ask questions. I'll peep at them. So we played a game earlier where I asked you if you could identify some phrases. Do you have any phrase in English in London, from London, that you feel that I may not be able to deduce the meaning?
To be honest, I don't know how much of like London slang is like widely known or not.
Yeah.
And also, I'm not an East Londoner. If I was an East Londoner, I'd be able to know Cockney rhyming slang, which I don't. I'm not sure. Like any phrases, I really don't know. I don't know.
Was there anything that you couldn't understand, Joanna? Like when you reached there? And the way people
Just
speak.
all of the abbreviations, I think. Cambridge abbreviates everything. So you have a DOS and a pludge and a
A plunge? What's that? What's
just
a
the
plunge?
name of the subjects like nat skis. Oh my goodness.
Okay.
So you know how we say computer science, you say
Right.
com sci?
Yeah.
They say com ski and nat ski. And I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's just like you have to get somebody to sit down and tell you what all the abbreviations mean.
Everybody goes through a stage at Cambridge of feeling stupid, unless you've like had a history of people going to Cambridge, which we both don't. You have to learn everything. Like,
Okay.
yeah. In terms of English culture, I'm not sure. Like whether I'm not sure.
Oh, peak. Like what is
Oh, you don't know that sort of thing? Yeah,
What's
there's
that?
things like peak.
What?
But that's like kind of more roadman speak. I don't know. You can guess.
Oh, just peak? That's it?
Yeah.
Just so? No.
what is peak? Peak is an adjective. Like, oh, that's really peak.
Oh. Okay. That's really peak. Okay. I can feel that. I'm feeling that. Well, that means like that's really good.
It means the opposite, actually.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really peak.
Also, do you know what craps mean?
Craps. No.
It's like shoes.
Oh, no.
Wait, what?
I heard that. I think in a song or something from Jamaica.
Yeah, this is my problem. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know what's London and what's just general slang.
Oh my word! You know what annoyed me? So they have this thing called Pancake Day, and I got so excited.
Crepes make you think of
this is
pancakes.
So annoying.
Love
'Cause I
that.
got really excited. I was like, "There's gonna be a day just for pancakes," and I was so ready. And you know what they said? They started serving us crepes, like the French, like the flat thing
Right.
that you roll and you have like lemon and sugar in it. And I was like, this is not a pancake. I want a real pancake. And they're like, oh, American pancakes. And then I'm like,
You put self-raising flour in your pancakes.
What's that?
You put you put
Soda.
like baking soda in your pancakes.
Soda?
baking soda, like baking powder,
Oh.
so that it rises.
Baking soda.
It's not just flat.
Oh, so they have a flat communion
Yeah,
bread.
like, you know, like the French crepes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they call in pancakes.
Okay. Flat bake then.
Flat bake.
Yeah. All right. So sometime I will be in London and I'll be able to enjoy the parks and we'll meet Jemima. It was a pleasure to have you and to find out from your experience. If they want to contact you, are you all open to being emailed or anything like that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I can pop one.
You can pop in.
You can put the cam email.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want that now or
So
yeah?
I want that number. So Joanna, you doing the Chavi, take my Joanna, you seen it on YouTube? You seen the comments on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So you'll just type in the email for me because Chavi just
Okay.
you can type in there your email so they can contact you all if they want some more information on how to get to Cambridge, road to Cambridge.
Jemima, what's your
She just posted it there. But it showed up on my phone, but it didn't show up on the screen here. I don't know why that happened.
8-4, right?
JNB38 at cam.ac.uk and JAT84. So they gave you a letter as you're reaching Cambridge.
Yeah.
Alright. So there you go. It was a pleasure having you all. I know this will help a few language students. Well, and it was very interesting talking to you all too. I'll have to, when I reach up in England eventually, I'll have to come and visit. So, bye. I'm turning off the live now.
Bye.